We're here with Chris Lombardo, who's running for re-election to the North Naples Fire District, Seat 4. Welcome, Chris, to the meeting of the Daily News Editorial Board here. Can you start us off and give us a minute and a half or two to talk a little bit about your background and your service with the district?
Well, you know, I'm a trial attorney, so opening statements are something I'm quite used to. I've been a resident of Naples for 31 years, actually of North Naples for 31 years. In fact, at the end of this month will be my 32nd anniversary. I've been in Florida since 1972. I came just after Disney opened. I went to high school in Orlando and college in Central Florida and law school at Florida State, so I'm a Florida guy. I have here in this town, I'm a practicing attorney. I have a law firm, Woodward, Pierce & Lombardo. It is the oldest local firm. We've been here for over 40 years. I also own a couple of other small businesses that I've created here in Collier County. I'm a full-time resident, and what I do is love Naples. I have been a fire commissioner for over a decade. I took the job years ago when nobody wanted the job because the district was in a state of complete disarray. We had personnel problems, labor problems, financial problems, and I jumped in and took the job nobody wanted and helped straighten out the approach. We were into deficit spending. I changed that platform from deficit spending to budgets and spending within our budget and actually funding reserves. I took an approach of creating long-term plans because when we track all of the data we have, the number of calls, the people who are moving here, the construction, we can see where the future is taking us, and my theory has been let's get ahead of it, not behind it. So for instance, Station 48, which I consider my personal project, Station 48, that parcel, we knew we were going to have a lot of development up there. We bought that land before the road was there. The net result was we paid $350,000 rather than $1.5 million for the land. We've tried very hard, and we've done, I think, a good job of turning that district around and taking it from a point where it was having to borrow money to exist to a point now where it is debt-free. We have appropriate reserves. We are well-run. We are considered the gold standard of fire districts by the governor's office. We have no lawsuits, no labor disputes. We have a cohesive group that works extremely well together, and we provide a wide variety of services. And then I've championed a few odd things. I'm a Boy Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm a Boy Scout through and through. I've been in scouting for over 45 years. So when I became a fire commissioner, one of my agendas was to make sure that that fire department was involved in the community, and I pushed youth programs. And so we have now a Cub Scout pack, a full complement of Cub Scouting Webelos, a Boy Scout troop, a venture crew. We have actually the largest venture crew, which is a co-ed scouting program in the state of Florida. We have the largest Boy Scout troop in Southwest Florida. I've championed concepts of programs like CERT, which is our civilian emergency response team, where we bring in volunteers and train them to assist us in the event of major affairs. I've championed programs like our 211 approach, where we provide information for seniors on various services and got us as a valuable partner in that. And then I've been involved in all kinds of odd things also in the community. I was on the original board of the Friends of the Collier County Museum. I chaired that for 8 years, led a capital campaign that built the facility that you see at the courthouse. I am presently the chairman of the Golisano Children's Museum. I've been chairman for the past year and a half, and my directive there is to expand the age bracket that we serve. And what you're going to see, I'm known for thinking outside the box. What you're going to see coming down the pike over the next couple of years with the Children's Museum, I think is going to make you very happy as we look into makers labs and a variety of community type events. I was a Boy Scout leader here for 12 years. I was a venture crew advisor for 8 years. I was the district chairman for scouting for 3 years here. I've served on the statewide advisory board for scouting. I volunteer at Philmont, which is scouting's largest outdoor program. I volunteer as a staff member. I take a couple of weeks off every year. For 10 years in a row, much to the chagrin of my wife, I took virtually every summer vacation and took kids camping. Whether it was Boy Scout camps in Central Florida, North Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Indiana, Michigan, and New Mexico, I was there. And so, and I'm very passionate about this community. I mean, I have a big investment here in time. I've raised my family here. Both my kids went through elementary school to high school here. Both my daughter just graduated from Florida State. My son is in law school at Florida State presently. I've been married for 30 years, my entire married life right here. And so I'm a diehard Naples person. That's me.
How many years total on the board? You said over a decade, huh?
I've been on the board for 16 years.
Okay.
16 years, and in those 16 years, what you see is a radical shift from the approach before, which is let's spend every dime and more, to no, we're not doing that. I make them, I look at it, here's what I find interesting. If I could predict my revenue in my business the way I can with the fire department, life would be so much easier. And when I look at that, I could not believe that we couldn't figure out how to operate that fire department and stay within budget. And so I forced out our old CFO and I recruited a true CFO. I mean, part of the problem in the fire service, you have these fellows who are great firefighters, these men and women who are dedicated and passionate, and we love them. They get a little older, they can't keep up, and so we send them on a weekend program to learn accounting, and then we call them a CFO. Well, that doesn't work when you're managing $25 million. They're great trainers, they're great managers of operations, but when it comes to the financial side, we need a professional. And so I recruited a professional. We have a true CFO, and I'm going to tell you that was the turning point. You'll see, you can almost identify it. You can see our audits were horrible, and then you see it shift, and now our audits are absolutely pristine. That's what caused us to fund reserves. And when you look at what happened at the recession, we went into the recession with over $17 million in reserves. I was able to steer that district through the most challenging time. It's interesting, nobody ran against me at that election because nobody wanted to be at the helm. I was the chairman. Nobody wanted to be at the helm when it looked like the Titanic was about to hit the iceberg. I missed the iceberg by a mile. And
So why do you think you're drawing a challenger this time?
I'll tell you what it is. He doesn't like the merger. He doesn't like the merger. And I'm going to tell you, I've listened to the community, and what I've heard is we want you to look at consolidation and merger. And so I have literally talked with every single fire department from Everglades City to South Fort Myers, every single one. I've analyzed mergers, whether it's with the City of Naples, East Naples, Golden Gate, San Carlos Park, Estero, Bonita Springs, Corkscrew, Immokalee. It's not an easy process. But here's what I believe. The 2010 ballot told me that people want us to consider consolidation, and my job is to bring it to them and let them decide. My opponent doesn't want it. Now, he'll tell you that it's delay. We just need more time. Don't rush into it. I'm going to tell you it's death by delay. We all know that these things are very delicate. To get all the planets to align, to get everything to work so that you can actually get it to function correctly is not easy. I can speak from experience because I watched our effort with East breakdown, our effort with Golden Gate breakdown, our effort with Naples breakdown, and it's for a variety of reasons. I mean, we have right now 2 fire chiefs that are close to retirement. You know how unique that is? I mean, because this way, if we merge, I don't have to fire a fire chief. Attrition takes care of it. I actually have another chief right in line for retirement. And so within short order, we're going to go from 9 chiefs to 5 chiefs. I have both commissions, for the most part, the majority of both commissions, saying, yes, we want this. I have both unions that like each other and are working well with each other that say they want this. And so to have all those forces come together and everybody working as a cohesive unit and in favor of it, very, very difficult. If you delay that, if you put this off for another 2 years, it's going to fray. And more importantly, I think we owe our firefighters the answer. Those people have enough stress, thank you very much. They work in a very intense, very tough job, and the whole situation that you create where we're waiting now for 2.5 years to decide whether we're merging or not creates an unbelievable amount of stress and chaos that's unfair. We owe them the duty of giving them an answer. I owe the public the duty of putting it out there. We've vetted it. We have a merger plan and a business plan. We have all kinds of data available at bcnnmerger.com so everybody can educate themselves. Now I need the public to tell me what they want to do.
The big sticking point, if I understand correctly, is the difference in the millage. That's one of them anyway. Where North
Easy answer. We are at 1 mil, North Naples. They're able to go to 3.75 mils. Here's what you need to understand. About 10 years ago, I started a little program where I would take a week off in March. Now, you know, Fire Commission, I get paid $6,000 a year. Now, I'm a trial attorney. I sell my life by the hour. Every year I take a week off and I go up to Tallahassee and I work, I volunteer basically as a lobbyist for the fire department. That effort has delivered a lot of benefit because we were able to cure a lot of problems. We had a problem with the way the Retirement Act was structured for firefighters. Through that effort, we were able to get the legislature to rewrite that bill. I mean, championed by North Naples, which saved us, by the way, $1.5 million a year. I also recognize that we didn't have a vehicle, a statutory platform that would allow us to merge. And so we put together the effort. We actually wrote the bill. And one of the challenges we saw was exactly what you identified, Alan, different millage rates. And so the way the statute is structured, and the reason why we're doing this under the statute, the East and Golden Gate, they're doing their own thing. They're going to ask for a local bill. We're doing the statute. And the statute provides a whole program for us. It allows us to have 2 service districts, 2 service areas within one district. So picture it this way. It's 2 fire departments with 1 administration. It also lets us have 2 taxing service areas. So North Naples remains at 1 mil and Corkscrew remains at 3.75 mils. And here's the beauty of it. We can't increase the North Naples rate unless North Naples votes to increase it. And then we went one step further. We use a cost allocation approach. So that one administration that's managing the 2 fire departments will have 2 budgets. And we'll allocate so that Corkscrew doesn't pay for North and North doesn't pay for Corkscrew. You can't complain. And by the by, when we crunch the numbers, here's the conclusion we reached. We can bring Corkscrew's rate down to 3.45, and for the first time in the history of North Naples, I can bring the North Naples rate down to 0.95. So actually, even though there are rumors that your rate's going to double, that's not true. That's just not true. And I don't know why people are spreading those rumors. The fact is, we'll be able to drive the millage rate down. And you know, the other question I get asked is, and it's really twofold. Gee, you know, rural versus urban. I think, well, okay, you know, if you've lived here for a long time, here's what you know. This used to be rural. Where we're sitting right now was a tomato field. Pelican Marsh was a big tomato field as well. I moved into Pine Ridge in 1990, and I remember when I moved there, my best friend Bruce Thalheimer looked at me and said, "What are you doing moving way out there in the woods? You know, where are you going to go to the movies?" And I thought, "No, Bruce, the town is coming this way." You know, I look at people now and tell them, "You realize, right, that this was way out in the sticks." And what was fun for me as a fire commissioner is I kind of steered that transition from that rural approach to an urban approach. Corkscrew has the last of the big, large, developable tracks. It's about to happen to them too. If you get in your car and drive out of Mockley Road and recognize North Naples goes all the way to the edge of Twin Eagles. From I-75 to Twin Eagles, there are almost 3,000 homes under construction. That's a boom. I mean, we had, you know, and we track everything. We track our calls, we track the nature of our calls, we track the permits, we track the nature of the developments, so we know residential versus commercial, we know ALFs versus retail, industrial. And what we're seeing, we saw 5 years of everything just kind of slowing down, and it's kind of sad because you get used to looking at the trees and you think, gosh, then you watch them take the trees down right over here and you think, oh, you know what, that was a developable parcel. But so you look at what's happening right now, and we kind of figured this is what would happen, is as soon as it started, it would just come out of the gate like a lion. And so as you watch that, what's happening for us is we have a little station called Station 42, which is just east of I-75, not too far from Quail Creek. It used to be the slowest station in the system. In fact, we would beg firefighters to work there because they were bored to tears. It is now the second busiest station we have and quickly approaching the busiest because we have so much happening east of I-75. Here's the problem. If I don't do something quick, we need to figure out how we answer that service level because the entire district is entitled to protection. The entire district is entitled to a quality level of service. And so we either have to start thinking about building a fire station somewhere in the eastern end of our district, somewhere around the 951 Immokalee Road corridor, or we need to find another answer. The answer? Corkscrew has available capacity because the growth hasn't quite hit them yet. It's coming. And so we can actually use the Corkscrew firefighters to help cover capacity in the eastern end of our district. That's a win. That's an absolute win. By the way, the concern is, well, they're losing money. Well, you know what? They actually had funded appropriate reserves. In fact, the two strongest financial districts in the county right now, North Naples and Corkscrew. Corkscrew's loss last year was $388,000, which was able to be funded from their reserves. We do what we're doing here, we'll be able to remove their administration. I have plenty of administrative capacity. I need firefighters. They have firefighters, they don't need administrators. Right out of the gate, that's $200,000 in savings. You take the remaining 31 firefighters, put them into our health insurance plan, they're in a larger pool, there's another $50,000. So that 388 goes to 188, goes to 138. Now, I'm picking up, if you think of it, we're running at 110% capacity, Corkscrew's running at 50% capacity. 31 firefighters, essentially, I'm picking up 15 firefighters in the eastern end of my district, and even if we contributed, which we will not, it would only cost me $135,000. A starting firefighter, by the time you factor in the retirement benefits, the health insurance, and everything else, runs me about $70,000 a firefighter. I mean, I'm picking up 15 firefighters, even if I spent the 135, and I'm not going to have to, because it's going to come out of Corkscrew. It's a win.
Is there any benefit in terms of response times?
Absolutely, because recognize that what's happening, when was the last time you drove through Immokalee Road and I-75? You realize, I'm sure, that we can't get through the intersection any faster than you can. We have light sirens and chrome to get your attention, but the fact of the matter is we also have really high curbs, and if you can't get out of the way, I can't get through. And so what's happening right now is when 42, the station east of I-75, is dealing with an incident, we have to bring backup from somewhere west of 75. And so whether it's from 44, 45, 40, so you're talking about from Pelican Bay or Veterans Park, I've got to pull units across I-75 to the eastern end of our district. It's very hard for us to get those units back. And so when I can use firefighters just on the other side, much more efficient. I mean, I tell people, look, if you had a blank sheet of paper, you would not lay out the fire service the way it was laid out. It has organically evolved because of the various communities, but all those communities have slowly come together. And so now, when you talk about bringing in firefighters from the eastern end of our district, it drops our response time on the eastern end of our district, which benefits everybody. It means I can leave units on the western end in the western end. It also means that I can add 2 more quick response vehicles, which is a huge, huge advantage. We call them rescues. So you'll see an immediate increase in service.
You mentioned that you couldn't raise the taxes in North Naples unless North Naples approves it. Is that the voters? Is that the fire board?
No, it's the voters. Okay. And I put it in writing. I mean, we've created, and it's part of the deal, we have to create a statutory provision for this merger. If it passes, we have already written the statute that goes to the local delegation and gets passed. If the election happens and everybody in both districts vote, right, because it has to be voluntary. I don't like forced merger. It has to be voluntary. Then what happens is January 1st, if it passes, you have a new district, the North Collier Fire District. Then we send the legislation to the local delegation and it gets passed. That legislation specifically provides that the North Naples service area is 1 mil. And it cannot increase unless the North Naples service area votes in favor of it.
We're going to run out of time in about a minute or so here, Chris. Are there any other issues in this race, or does it really boil down to consolidation for you?
Well, but let me tell you something. What I've said to everybody is, you need a seasoned leader, not a seasonal leader. I'm a full-time resident. I've been a full-time resident for 31 years. Now listen, we have some wonderful people that are part-time residents, and I appreciate them. I've put one of them who might be running against me on one of our committees to assist us because I see them as a tremendous resource. But the fact of the matter is, fires, emergencies happen year-round. The management of the department is a year-round deal. You need someone here on a year-round basis who, and listen, I'm a guy who loves to go looking at open houses and roaming around, and you need someone with that level of knowledge. And so I've listened to he's been doing the job for a long time, and what I tell people is don't fix what's not broken. I mean, we turn that department around. It's taken years to build the trust that I need to have with the administration, with the public, the community, and the firefighters to get everyone to work together and build a cohesive unit. And that, to me, is invaluable.
About 30 seconds left here. Anything else you'd like to add?
Other than the fact that I appreciate the opportunity, and it wasn't lost on me that the Naples Daily News decided to move its facility right here in the middle of the North Naples Fire Control District.